Hello, and welcome back to the Kimberly Lovey podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Lovey. You guys, we have so much to chat about today. How are you all doing? I am recording live from my closet because the gardener's here, and I swear, anywhere I go in my house, I keep hearing the noise. So I'm going to close the door here. So, all right, guys, let's see, it's Friday the 11th, February 11th, and I'm in the home stretch of this pregnancy. So I'm 37 weeks and 1 day. I feel like I've been pregnant forever, don't you? But gosh, it's been a whirlwind. There's been a lot going on over here, and I'm like, I need to sit down and talk to my friends over here about all the things. So, all right, I'm going to start off by telling you guys, number one, about a baby scare that we had, or I don't know if we're done with it really, but we had quite the event happen the last couple days. So I want to talk to you about that. I also wanted to talk to you guys about baby names, and Carter's birthday's coming up, his birthday party. We have Becky coming. So there's a lot of things we need to cover. I also kind of wanted to talk about boundaries, setting boundaries. So there's like 3 or 4 different items that I wanted to tell you guys about. So I do want to start off, maybe before diving into all of the personal things going on, I just want to say something. So I keep seeing this theme around women, like more specifically right now, it's kind of having to do with like babies and family, and just kind of like what are the rules of or boundaries that women are feeling that they're struggling to set boundaries around, kind of like who's going to be able to see their baby, and are you allowed to kiss the baby, do you have to be vaccinated, and all this kind of stuff, and just like a lot of discussion about that. And I'm just sitting here reading all this, and it's just like, to me, it lends itself to a broader discussion on women and boundaries, and how we as women, I think we really struggle with setting boundaries firmly because we feel bad. And I just, the older I get, I'm like, we need to stop apologizing for setting boundaries, especially when it comes to protecting our families or our children. But not even that, just broadly speaking, like boundaries in general, I feel like women, we are not good at this. And so I just want to say a couple things about it, because it's something that continues to come to the forefront, and I don't hear anyone talking about it. So, I think that as women, I think the reason why we struggle is because we are so empathetic. We are people pleasers. We want to make everyone around us happy. It's our nature, right? So we're good at pleasing everyone. What we're not good at is protecting our boundaries, our space. And so oftentimes we end up kind of not setting boundaries or caving into other people's, like, what they think is the right thing to do, and it ends up being at our own expense. And I don't believe in that. So I want to sit here and just say that, look, if you are I'm just going to use the case of the baby theme, but please apply this to whatever boundaries you're struggling with in your own life. And this can be at work, it can be with family, it can be with friends, it can be with anything. Setting a boundary does not make you a nasty bitch. Okay? Let's be very, very clear about that. It does not. It means that you have certain things that you are comfortable with, and that you essentially would like other people to respect, certain levels of comfort for you. And so setting a boundary does not need to be a nasty thing. It doesn't need to be rude or mean or selfish or any of those things. It's just a simple, drawing the line to say, hey, this is where I feel comfortable and where I'm not comfortable. And it doesn't, you don't need to apologize. You have every right to set any kind of boundary for yourself. And so, in the example of, okay, well, I have a newborn and we're in this COVID world, and my mother-in-law wants to come, but she's not vaccinated, or they're upset that, I'm not allowing them to kiss the baby. Well, you know what? It's your baby. And candidly, we're in a COVID world still. So as much as we all hate it, that's our reality. Nobody likes this, okay? So let's just all be clear about this. Nobody wants to even have any kind of thought around these discussions as far as who can come see the baby because of COVID and because of all these things. It's like it's already stressful enough. So let's just set that, straight up front. And, if someone does not like your boundary or agree with it, that is their problem. Okay? It's not for you to fix, it's not for you to change, and it's not for you to solve. It doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you are doing your best as a parent or as a woman to protect either yourself or your family. And you know what? That is your job. And it's not only your right, but it's your job. So I'm getting really it really boggles my head when I hear that so many of these strong, intelligent, beautiful women are struggling with setting boundaries with people. And I don't know why it's so hard. It doesn't need to be hard. Just own it. Own your own self-worth and don't apologize for it. So, some of my other friends, maybe it's not the case of babies, but maybe it's with friendships. Maybe a friend oversteps their boundaries. They ask too much of you, or again, another family member. It's like, then distance yourself, set that boundary. You need to protect your own mental health, because when there is somebody that is really upsetting you or they consistently cross boundaries, it really does soul suck on us. Like, we obsess over it, we get upset over things, and it's just not worth it, ladies. Like, it's just not worth it. So please protect your own energy, set your boundaries, and something that I always do is, like, I am always searching and paying attention to who is draining my energy and who is adding positivity to my life. And I really encourage you to consistently be evaluating that as well. And, it pushes me as a friend and as a family member to also make sure I'm showing up in a positive way for other people. And that doesn't mean, we all need to show up so positive and jovial every day, but, like, don't be a leech on somebody. Don't always be the one complaining or needing things. Like, it's a give and take. So just, it makes you be a little bit more aware of how you're showing up for other people. But please, if something is not working for you, whether it's like a childcare situation, a family situation, a work situation, don't settle for that and do not tolerate it. Set a boundary, change your situation, and don't apologize. Okay? That is part of being an adult, and it's part of being a confident and well-adjusted human. And if your boundaries do not resonate with somebody else, it is not your job to explain yourself, to justify your decision. It is, if they respect you, they need to respect your boundary, period. There is no more discussion about it. It is what it is. And if that's an issue, then they can go the other way, and that is fine. But do not compromise your boundaries to be nice, okay? That is at your expense or your family's expense, and it's not right. So I just want to encourage you guys, collect your strength, put on your big girl pants, and do what is in your comfort zone. There's been issues with baby showers and parties, and it's such a hard situation we find ourselves in. And if people just can't jive with you, then they need to just get over it. So that's all I'm going to say about boundaries. It kind of like, it's a little bit like mind blowing to me that we struggle so much with this as women, and how it's like, women, we need to be strong. Come on. Like, we give so much to everybody else. I don't know why this is so hard for us. So it's not about being mean or nice. That's not the discussion. That's not even relevant at all. It's about you feeling comfortable. Okay. So please set your boundaries in any way, shape, or form they show up, and stick to them, and do not apologize. And it might feel uncomfortable at first, but you know what? You'll get used to it. So yes, and remember, especially those of you that have daughters, they need to see a strong, confident woman. So you need to, exude that also. So just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. So, okay. Soapbox done. Okay, so now I want to talk to you guys about, oh my goodness. So where should we start? Baby names? Okay, I'm going to tell you guys something about baby names in our family. Brian and I have a history. We have this whole I'll call it a process, but it's really not like, it's not like a good process. It just is a process. And so now we're on baby number 3, right? And the process is the following. I basically have, a list of 20 baby names. This has happened for Carter, it happened for Charlotte, and now with this baby. So, as you would think, I'm the one that starts the discussion pretty early on. I have a list of boy names, a list of girl names. My list I've had for each now for 5 and 6 years. And so basically, our process is that I basically say to Brian, okay, here's a list of like 20 names. And he listens and he basically says, like, if he absolutely hates a name, and he'll give me his why. And usually it's like kind of hilarious. Like, he just, like, he doesn't like androgynous names, and he doesn't like names with too many syllables, and he doesn't like names that remind him of someone. I think that one's kind of more normal, but like, it's just his. So he has very strong opinions about this, which is kind of helpful, right? It's helpful to an extent, because then it helps us get our list down. Like, when he gives me a hard no on a name, it allows me to like be like, okay, he seriously hates this name. It really has to be off of our list. So to an extent, it's helpful. But here's where we get caught. So then I kind of like get it down to like our top 10. And then a few weeks later, I'll revisit them, and he'll be like, no. And then he'll say, if he likes one or one doesn't bug him, he'll say, that's okay. But keep in mind, he will never say, oh, I like a name. That's just not my husband. He will never say it. And so he'll be like, it's okay. So when he says that, that's your cue that like it's making it into your top 5, right? Okay, so we go through this iterative process. It usually takes months. He usually doesn't want to even talk about it, because it's like he feels like it's too much pressure, I think, and he doesn't want to address it because he's like tired from work and has other things on his mind. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here obsessing. And so our last 2 babies, we basically went into the hospital with like our top 2 to 3 names, and decided either at the hospital, like with Charlotte, we decided at the hospital after she was born, like 2 days later when we were being discharged. And then with Carter, we didn't name him till a week after when he was home. And so this time I was like, oh, hell no, I am not doing this again. I am not doing this. And like, it's not even that whole vibe of like, oh, we want to see what the baby looks like. It's not even that. It's straight up, we can't decide. Like, we don't know. And then like, I have my girlfriends that, and some of you out there listening, it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's me. Where you're like, oh yeah, I've had my baby names for years. Like, I've known since I was 12. I've had my names picked out, and it's like not even an issue. Like, are you kidding? Like, this is so easy for us. And I'm like, oh, that is not, it's not us. So yeah, like with Carter, we're going to name him either Benjamin or Carter. And we took him home without a name. He was baby boy Levy. And then when we got home, we were like calling him Carter, Benjamin, Carter, Benjamin. And like, it just kind of, we finally just ended up picking Carter, which I was so happy about. I love the name Benjamin too, but I really loved Carter. And so, anyway, and then with Charlotte, we actually picked her name in the hospital, and then we actually ended up changing her middle name. And so Brian had to run back and like refile the paperwork. It was like so much drama with both of them. So anyway, this time I was like talking to my mother-in-law, and I'm like, I cannot do this. Like, I want to get some naming, some like embroidered, custom like monogram stuff for the baby. And so basically Brian and I finally get to this point about maybe 3 weeks ago. So I'm like, at this point, I'm 34 weeks pregnant or something. And we get to like our top probably 5. And then we keep revisiting them at night, and like, the whole thing's just like taking too long. And I finally realized, like, there's one name. Like, I thought we were going to go with one name, and then he's like, no, I'm not into that name anymore. We were totally into it. The kids were into it. Oh yeah, now we have the kids to consider their opinions, by the way. So I totally thought we were picking one name. Okay. Totally not it. So then I realized, okay, he's really over that name. And I was kind of disappointed, but I was like fine with it. And then So then he ends up kind of going back to this other name that broke one of his original rules. And I was really surprised. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. Well, and this is a name that I've had on my list for 6 years. And he's always shot it down up until recently. And he just had a change of heart. And so, you know what I did? So, what I did was I went on Etsy and I got a decal name sign and paid for it. I designed the whole thing, found the fonts on Canva, sent it to the woman. She downloads the fonts. She sends me the proof. We go through this whole thing and she sends it to me. And I put it up because Brian was like, let's just practice using the name for like the next couple weeks. I'm like, okay. So I immediately go and start ordering things on Etsy and get this decal, bring it home, and just hang it up. And he ends up helping me hang it up. And then I also got the cutest little like wardrobe dividers. Like, you know, it says like newborn size and it has her name on it. And then it has 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and it has her name on every single one, like for all of her little wardrobe. And so anyway, so I'm like, well, we could always change a decal and like these little signs, but I ended up going and getting all these like monogrammed and like custom name signs and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just want to pick the name. Like, I'm tired of this where we wait till literally a week after our baby's born to like decide. And if we hate it, like, what better way to try it on than doing it this way? So, anyway, I think we have our name, guys. And the funniest part is, and when we announce the name, once she's born, I'll share it with you. But the middle name, he said, I'm going to let you have it. So I got to pick the middle name. And he hates this name. It's been on his hate list and it's been on my like I love list. And I picked it. And he knew I was going to pick that one. And he's like not thrilled about it, but like he's like fine with it, you know? So anyway, all that to say, I think we have our baby name. You never know in this household though. Like we could literally think we have it all and then the last minute change it. So stay tuned for that. And once the baby is born, we will tell you what we name her. And so yeah, so that was cool. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you about something else that happened that was kind of like less upbeat, but like I kind of want to share this. I was a little bit torn about sharing it, but I do want to share it just because I don't think it's right to share all the pretty pictures and the pretty, you know, fake news and then not share like the hard stuff too, especially when you have a platform. And I just feel like it's like dangerous to just paint this fake picture of perfect, and I don't think it's relatable either. So I'm going to go ahead and share what happened, and this was really upsetting. So all right, okay, so I went for a scan, so my 37-week appointment. I went and the doctor, so basically whenever I've had like a growth scan, we have like a specialty doctor that we go to that's like really, really known in the industry versus just going to getting like a sonogram at my OB. And so for my 20-week scan, I went to our specialty doctor, and then he usually sends the scan over to our OB, and the OB reads it and whatever. Okay. So I didn't realize I was going to have a 37-week scan. I didn't have that with my last two. And I don't even know why it was called. Maybe it's my age or it's an IVF baby. I'm not really sure. But anyway, so I couldn't get in with the specialty doctor. And so I just was like, okay, my OB's like, that's fine. You can just do it here. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, okay. So on Wednesday, I was 36 weeks and 6 days pregnant. So like the next day I was going to turn 37 weeks pregnant. So I go in and start the sonogram, and the tech is there. And for those of you that don't know this, the tech is not allowed to kind of like relay any information about their findings as they're in there with you, because there's not a doctor in there to really interpret it. And so she's like doing her thing, and I feel like I'm not in like a great position. Like I'm kind of leaning up and like, oh, so keep in mind also, the baby was, my last appointment at 35 weeks, the baby was breech, meaning the head was up and the feet were down. And my doctor was like, okay, if that's going to be the case, we're going to have to do an intervention. If the baby is not turned by your next appointment, like head down, that's not safe for like a vaginal birth. So I'm going to try and do like it's called an ECV, where he manually tries to turn the baby and they give you like an epidural and everything. So that was already something I was like worried about. I had actually gone in the shower and pushed the baby's head a little bit, and she turned within 24 hours. So I get there to this sonogram, and the baby's head's down. Great. But the reason why I bring that up is because apparently when that happens, the baby can be in such a position where it's hard to measure the growth and like the head and all that. So, okay, that's all fine. Gosh, I'm like out of breath talking because I'm like, let me see if I can change my position. It's hard sharing your body with another human. Okay. So anyway, so we're in the scan. It's me and like I can't have a visitor with me because again, we're in this COVID nation. And so I get there and I'm laying down and I feel like I'm not like flat enough. So I felt like she couldn't get like a great full read on the baby, but she's measuring the head circumference and I'm looking at, her inputting the information. And with each body part, you can kind of like, it tells you the percentile that, that body part is in based on the size. So I look and I see the head circumference and it says like whatever the centimeters and it says 1.1%. I'm like, that's strange. And I'm like, I'm not an expert in this, but like that doesn't seem right. So then she's going through like she's measuring the femur, the stomach, and all the other numbers are kind of like, okay, 45th percentile, 55th percentile, 65th, 85th, whatever, like depending on the body part. And she's just methodically going through measuring the baby. But I keep going back to that head circumference. I'm like, wait, it's not. I'm like, this isn't right. I'm like, wait, the baby's head's 1.1%. And then she's like, oh, your doctor's going to read everything. So she like said the right thing, but I just started crying because I'm like, something is really off. And you have to realize I can't see the baby in one picture because at this size, and she even said, at this size, you cannot see the full body of the baby in one image because the baby's too big. So I can't like be like, oh, I can't like look at the sonogram and be like, oh, the baby's head looks normal or looks small. Like I can't see that against the rest of the body. You're looking at one body part at a time. Okay, so I'm like crying in the sonogram because I'm like, something is wrong. This is not good. Like, how is this is something's off. So I'm like doing like the silent tear thing though. I'm not like having like a drama moment, but I'm like literally like starting to get really panicked. And so, like wiping away my tears and like trying to calm down. And then I'm done with the sonogram and like, I just sense that something's wrong. Like I've had many ultrasounds and especially with IVF, and like I've never had the like, I don't know, it was just a sense, like even like I could just sense that something's wrong. Because even sometimes the tech will be like, okay, everything looks great, or like they might make some small comment like that, like that's ambiguous. Sorry. So anyway. Okay, so then I have to go in the waiting room because I'm now waiting to meet with my OB who is, I'm going to meet with him next, and he's obviously going to read the ultrasound and then like interpret it and talk to me about it. And I'm thinking, we're there because we're going to check the amniotic fluid levels and the size of the baby, position. But like, I'm not thinking like in terms of there being something wrong, like leading up to this. So now I'm sitting there in the waiting room. And I am freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, my baby has a messed up head. Like this could be a disabled child. Like this is like severely scary. Like I'm like freaking out. And I'm like calling Brian, but like I'm in the waiting room and I can't really talk and like all the things. So I'm just sitting there for 30 minutes. I'm like physically shaking. Okay. And keep in mind, I also had COVID. Okay. Plus I had to get a booster. I'd gotten the booster. I didn't get my vaccine when I was pregnant. We waited for our embryo transfer, but I'd gotten a booster back in September. So I'm like already very anxious because I'm like, I've done this vaccination pregnant that I never thought or wanted to do pregnant. And then I got COVID pregnant. So like, and nobody really knows what the impact is. Like there's all this mixed information, and it's a very stressful, confusing time. Okay. So finally, I go into the OB's office, and she takes my blood pressure. It's like 140 over like 90 or some crazy number, which I never have any issues with my blood pressure ever. But I am just so stressed out and panicked, and I'm physically shaking. So he walks in finally, and he sits down. He's like, he goes, the baby's head looks a little small. And I'm like, start just like freaking out. I'm like, what happened? What's wrong? You need to remeasure. He's like, well, sometimes the position of the baby is like, it's hard to measure. Like, I'm not leaving. I'm like, I need to get in. I need you to remeasure right now. Can you please remeasure? Like, this can't be right. And then he like remeasures, and he gets 12th percentile. And I'm like, okay, well, that's better. But I'm like, I need to go to see our specialist doctor. He's like, okay. I'm like, well, what should it be? He's like, well, it should be, ideally, the head circumference would be proportional to the rest of the body. And overall, the baby's measuring 6 pounds, 8 ounces in 45th percentile. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like way off. Like the femur's in the 60th percentile, the stomach's in the 80th percentile, like the head's in the 1%. Like this is really scary. So he's like, go sit in the waiting room, and I'm going to see if I can get you in. And the specialist is in a totally different, like I have to drive like across the city to go to this doctor. And I'm like, he's like, well, can you go another day? I'm like, no, it takes me an hour and a half to get here. And then it's like a whole day event. Like I live really far because like, these are all my doctors from when we were in the city. So he comes out, and he's like, okay, I got you in at 2:30. It's like 11:30, by the way. He's like, why don't you go to lunch and then go over to the doctor? And I didn't get you in with the main guy, but I got you in with one of his like associates or whatever. I'm like, no problem. I'm like, and he's like, don't worry. I'm like, don't worry. I'm like, I can't even go sit and eat lunch. Like, I'm not going to go to Beverly Hills and like go enjoy like my favorite, like, what do you, like, I'm a wreck right now. I am freaking out. So get in my car, leave Cedars, drive across town, go. And I'm so frazzled and disoriented and just panic struck at this point that I can't even think about food. Although I was about to pass out, so I did ask them for like an apple juice and some crackers. But like, I can't sit there and like have a lunch and relax. Like, no. So I drive immediately over to that doctor, and I get there 3 hours early. And they're like, you're a little early. I'm like, I'll just sit here. Like, I don't even care. I just need to be here. I cannot be anywhere else. I'm too upset. Like, thank you so much for getting me in. I'm just so grateful that I got to be seen because they're really busy. So I end up running into the main doctor. They were going to take me back to like take my vitals. And I run into the main doctor, who, by the way, my husband grew up with his son. So he like, and we always go to him. So he like in the hallway, I'm like walking behind the nurse, who actually turns out it's his wife. I didn't know that. And he's like, oh, how are you doing? I'm like, not good. I'm like, my baby's head is measuring like, 12%. And he's like, I'm not worried. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like trying to like not bawl, but like I'm at the point, when you're like holding it in and you're so devastated and you're just trying to hold it together. But like when someone asks if you're okay, you like start like losing it. It was like that. So, and this guy is like the guru, okay? He's like a very well-known, highly respected physician. So like, it just was not my best moment, okay? And so he's like, I'm not worried. I'm like, what do you mean you're not worried? The rest of the body's in the 50th percentile. Like, this is so scary. Something is wrong. And he's like, no. He's like, nope, it's not. He's like, I'm not worried. He's like totally calm. I'm like so confused. And he's like, if you told me the baby's head was measuring like -5%, then I'd be worried. And I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, what? It's just not making sense. So of course I'm like starting to like bawl crying, and he like kind of pushes me into like one of the rooms, and I sit down, and he's like, let me ask you, are all your body parts perfectly proportional? And I'm like crying. I'm like, no, my left foot's slightly bigger than my right. He's like, exactly. But like on a percent, it still is not landing, and I'm just really like worried. But like, this does make me feel much better, because if this guy's saying not to worry, like, he's the guru. Turns out the woman that was going to do all my vitals, she's like, here's a tissue. She's like, yeah, I'm his wife. I'm like, oh, your son grew up with my husband. Like, it's like so embarrassing. She's like, you can take off your mask for a second to like wipe your nose. And like, I'm like a mess. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just wasn't expecting this. This is like so upsetting for me. And she's like, let's not take your vitals right now. They're not going to show up very good. Just go back in the waiting room. She's like, in fact, maybe you should go outside. Like, she doesn't want me in her office. And I don't blame her. I'm like a hot mess. I'm going to upset other patients. Oh, you guys, so bad. And I'm like, I can't even go anywhere. I am too upset. And so I'm like so by then I've like collected myself. I sit down, I behave, I start chit-chatting with the moms. And she comes out like twice to be like, sweetie, why don't you go down and get a muffin? Aren't you hungry? I'm like, I'm too upset. I can't do anything. I'm just going to stay here. And she's like, well, you have quite a wait. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, look, if someone comes in late, maybe I'll go first or before, but I'm not expecting anything. I'll just sit here. I just want to be here. Like, I'm just happy. Like, she's like trying to like get me out of her office. So anyway, needless to say, by 3:30, I get seen. And like, again, I'm like, I'm in no rush. Oh, keep in mind, my entire family we're supposed to be celebrating my amazing mother-in-law's birthday. And we're not doing that because I am the one that's supposed to be, I was supposed to pick up my bonus father-in-law, drive him from Beverly Hills to our house. Then we were going to I had already gotten her a cake. We were going to all have dinner together. And I was going to pick him up at noon. And now it's like already 4:00 and I'm still not even being seen. Like, we're finally like in the appointment. So it's just everything the whole day. Oh, I was supposed to meet with our party planner that day at the park at 2:00. Like, the whole day just got completely messed up, like a disaster. Okay. So we get in there and it's this young doctor, a woman, female physician, reminds me of my sister. She's like in her 40s. She has 3 kids. And I'm like, thank you so much for getting me in. Like, I'm so grateful. I'm like really worried. And just because she's like, oh, sorry about the wait. I'm like, no, like, don't apologize. I'm so happy that you guys got me in. I just need to like work with the facts here because I am losing my mind. And, one tip, by the way, for you guys, if any of you run into any kind of health scare, whether it's with you, a baby, an older family member, any health matter, my best advice for you, and this is what I kept myself, like how I continue to not like lose it, is like stick with the facts, follow the information. So demand that you get in somewhere that can give you the best information possible and go by that information. Do not settle for second-rate information. Go seek out the right people to give you the right information. And then once you have the right information, then you can start making decisions about things. Okay, that's really, really important. And I've used this as a tool over the last couple of years when we've had a lot of health issues in our family. Don't go by Google or what you're feeling or by your biggest fears. Don't do that. Stick with the facts. Okay, that's my top tip. So that's why I was so happy to be at a place where I knew I could see a specialist, get the right measurements, get the right facts. And so that was the most important thing. Okay. So she completely remeasures me, does everything. She looks at how my chart was back at 20 weeks. And the baby's head circumference was 36% then. And now she remeasured it. It was 3.6%. So that's still really scary. I'm like horrified. Now, I didn't realize they also have a brain growth scan metric. So the brain growth was in the 30th percentile, which is much better. And so the doctors were like, this has no bearing on the baby's intelligence. The brain is fine. Blood flow's good. Fluids good. Placenta, everything. Like, they're looking at everything in great detail. And they're like, look, percentage for head circumference is not the best way to understand what's really going on and like evaluate things. They're like, the better thing is to understand the growth of the stomach and also the overall weight of the baby. And so your baby is 6 pounds, 8 ounces, and you're 37 weeks. That's 45th percentile. That's very healthy. The stomach was like 86th percentile. And they said, unless the baby is more than the head circumference, instead of percentages, they said, look at this is a statistics thing, so forgive me if you guys don't understand this part, but essentially if you're more than 3 standard deviations outside of the mean, that's when you're in big trouble with the baby's head circumference and head size. But they showed me, because I'm like, into statistics and analytics and numbers and all that stuff. So this actually really helped. So she actually graphed it and showed me. And she said, back at your 20-week appointment, you were right kind of at that mean, which is like the average. Now you've fallen below the mean, but you're not outside of the normal range, essentially. And so it's fine. So she basically said it's fine. And he said it was fine. And so I was like, okay, but it still was not sitting right with me. And so she could tell I was still uncomfortable. And she said, look, what you can do is come in for like an additional set of observations over the next 2 to 3 weeks for the rest of your pregnancy. So you can go to your main OB on like a Tuesday and come see me on a Friday, and we'll check the placenta, we'll check the heart rate, heartbeat, the blood flow, and the fluid levels, like in great detail, and the growth here. And then she said, that way you have 2 sets of eyes. So you can come in and do like a non-stress test. And I'll do an ultrasound on you as well. And so that's what we're going to do. And she also said, because I'm over 35 years old and because I'm 37, she said, because of the fact that I am over 35 years old and it's an IVF pregnancy, she would recommend not going over my due date and inducing me a week early, like as early as 39 weeks. So that's now something that we might do or consider doing, but I would really like to have my baby on March 1st or 2nd or 3rd, like the first week of March. I've just wanted that. So I'm hoping that we can keep her, we're going to go by the health of the baby first and foremost. More than anything, that's what's going to dictate what we do. But I'm not going to like be a diva about that, because it's all about the health of the baby. But if I had my druthers, if I had it my best way, we would wait. So that is that. So that was our big scare, and I'm just like nervous, and I'm like, is she gonna look weird, like if she has a small head? And they're like, no, like it's not something that's even visible to the eye. So I was just worried about like health issues, as you guys can imagine. And so anyway, so stay tuned. I still have like a really big like pit in my stomach about the whole thing, to be perfectly honest, but I'm trying to just like really trust the doctors, know that I'm doing the right thing in terms of like taking the right action, and like not upset myself, because that's like not good for me or the baby, obviously. So that was our big drama with that. And then all right, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm just gonna tell you, so this weekend is coming sharp right. This weekend we are having a huge party for Carter's 6th birthday. We haven't been able to have a really great party in like 3 years, since his 3rd birthday. We've had these like sad backyard parties that were like, really just really, we were trying so hard, but like they were not great parties. Okay. So this year I'm like, no, I rented out a huge park. It fits 400 people. We've got 120 people RSVP'd. Keep in mind, 95% of our friends that are showing up have all had COVID already. The surge is coming down. It's a massive outdoor space that I rented. And so we're doing like a Nerf party. It's like a Nerf battle, and a company comes out and they actually like host the party for you. And it's all socially distanced, and they're vaccinated and all the things. And anyway, so the men love it. The kids love it. And then I got some other fun kind of surprises, like a blow up obstacle course. If like, I know Charlotte's not going to want to do the Nerf battle, or at least not the whole time. And then I got, let's see, so I got that. We have Mexican food that's going to be served. And then we also got this amazing cake, and from a woman named Katie. So I'll tag her. I'm going to post about it, but she made the most amazing cake. And then I got these signs made so that you can find the party, because it's at this park and it's hard to find the space. We have our balloons coming. The signs are going to be there to get people to the right spot. And anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. The only thing is that, it's in February. And so I was worried it was going to rain. And then sure enough, of course, in true California fashion, we're having a heat wave, and it's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. So I was originally going to serve cake and donuts, and I actually am surprising everyone, and I'm going to be serving the cake, but also we have a like an ice, what do you call it? Not Kona ice. It's like a shaved ice and ice cream company truck coming for an hour. So it'll be super fun. The kids are going to love it. It's all like, under a picnic. There's like a huge area that will be in the shade, at least the adults, and yeah, so that's happening tomorrow, and I am just hoping to get through that. I think it'll be so fun. It'll be the first time we see our friends in a long time, and probably the last for a long time, because having a baby, I'm not going to see anyone for a while, I'd imagine. So yeah, I'll let you know. Also coming up on the podcast next week, again, assuming I don't give birth, finally, I have Lori Dorman coming on, who is an amazing female entrepreneur. She is incredible. She's the one that did all of our maternity photos. It's actually her company, but she doesn't even do the photos anymore. And she does all these huge celebrities. And she actually is she's built and sold multiple businesses. She's incredible. I spoke to her for like over an hour one night, and I was like, oh my God, you have to be on the podcast. Her story is crazy. Like it's so good. So if you guys are looking at my Instagram, then you will see like all of those photos, and we're going to do our newborn shoot with her. So yeah, we're going to finally talk about the maternity photo shoot that I've been dying to share with you guys and how it all went down. And, looking forward to the newborn shoot as well. So, and then the other last thing that's exciting for next week is that we are getting Becky back, you guys, which basically is me and Brian's wife, our long lost wife, that she lived with us for 2 years and then moved out when our kids went to school, and she has had all these like amazing jobs, and now we get her back for a couple months to help with the new baby. So Becky's going to be back, and I'm going to have her on the podcast because she is like incredible when it comes to anything with kids. So if you guys have any kid related questions, like my kids have been picky eaters really horribly lately. If you have any behavioral questions, nursing, anything, like send them my way, DM me, text me, whatever. And we're going to start having her on the podcast, and she's just so knowledgeable. I'm so excited to have you guys meet her in real life, and then, just share all the things. So yeah, with that, I've got about 2 more weeks, it looks like, until I give birth. And so, I hope that I'm able to keep up with the podcast and share kind of how things are going. I might do some like multiple mini episodes throughout all of it, but I'm sure it's going to be, exhausting. So with that, you guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate and love you guys so much, and I just love this community that we formed. And thank you to all my friends and family that are always cheering for me and our family, and we just love you so much. So with that, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.